The story is based on actual events. Mira Sorvino, great to have you back. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Do you think most people have even heard of this event, this whole Sonderkommando?
I don't think so. I hadn't. I mean, obviously there are people who are very well versed in history who may know of it, but it was something that I, who even had an interest in the Holocaust beforehand, didn't know about it.
Let's talk a little about the 12th Sonderkommando. Who were these people, and more importantly, what choices were they forced to make?
Well, these people were in the most impossible of circumstances. These men had been elected by SS troops saying, hey, will you do this work? But basically with a gun to their head.
This work being, help us exterminate your fellow Jews.
This work being convincing fellow Jews from the trains to go quietly into the showers, telling them that there were showers, and then locking them in, and then taking them out when they were dead. They did not put the Zyklon B gas in the containers. They did not kill them literally, but they aided in the killing process, and then they processed the bodies afterwards.
And how did these prisoners face this choice?
Well, some of them refused, and some of those people were shot or burned immediately. Some people did it thinking that they could gain a little bit more life. Maybe they could save their families. Maybe the war would be over before their time was up, because each consecutive Sonderkommando was killed after 4 months.
There is another story that develops within this story of a plot to destroy this machinery and find some way to slow down the extermination process. And this is where your character, Dina, comes in. Tell me a little bit about her.
Dina is a Jewish woman prisoner at Auschwitz who works in the Union munitions factory building arms for the Germans as slave labor. And she and 3 other women are smuggling explosives to the men in the Sonderkommando who are planning to blow up the crematoria. And she's based on one of 4 real women who knowingly dedicated their lives to this, knowing that they'd be caught eventually.
But a choice keeps coming up in this movie, the choice the men make, and in this case, the choice your character and the other women make, because they may be putting all of the other females at risk if they're discovered, but they're going to die anyway.
Yeah, I mean, basically everyone who was involved with the revolt, or not everybody, because even in the film there are certain men who say, well, why not escape after we've staged? And other people are like, are you serious? We're just going to do this one thing, and that will be worth it. But it's a machine of death. I mean, Auschwitz, the termination camps were all factories where the product was dead people. And if you could break the machines, if you could break the showers or the crematoria, you could slow down the number of people who were killed per day. You would be saving thousands of lives.
The secret that your character has and some of the other women has, she kept even under torture.
Yeah.
Here's a scene from the movie.
Where was the powder headed? This is what you want?
You're going to kill me anyway.
We will do worse to your entire block after we're done with you.
Why don't you just guess then?
Revive her.
The movie's shot in Bulgaria. I want to mention an amazing cast here, including Harvey Keitel, David Arquette, Steve Buscemi. How do you shoot something like this, Mira, and when they say cut and you're done for the day, how do you break the tension?
We developed a real camaraderie among the women working together, because most of the women's scenes were together.
Right, the men and the women do not...
They don't interact much.
Right.
Most of our male characters... Yeah, German characters or the fellow women prisoners. It's funny because in my memory, it seemed like I was able to put all my emotions into the work in the daytime. I mean, all my sadness, and, you know, because it wasn't like a normal movie. This is a piece of history that we're trying to retell. And Tim Blake Nelson had such integrity that we all felt like we were sort of treading on sacred ground in the memory of so many people who died and suffered in this period. So all the sadness would come out on the set, I thought. And then a friend of mine last night said, do you remember you were emailing me from Bulgaria? Do you remember how depressed the story, you know, got to you and made you feel? And then I started to remember that there were certain days that I would come home and you just couldn't help but being affected by the enormity of it.
I'm curious, you know, you've been acting for a long time now and well acclaimed for some of your roles. Would you have attempted this role early in your career?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've actually always been very impassioned by issues of prejudice. I wrote my thesis in college about racial conflict. I worked on a documentary about anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. So I actually jumped at the chance to work on this once I read it because it was so pure. I mean, this is not your standard Holocaust movie.
Yeah. It's very moving. It's called The Gray Zone. Mira Sorvino, always good to have you here.
Thank you.
We're back after these messages.